Hello and welcome. This is the course on stochastic process and the theory of queues. This lecture will concentrate on the MG1 queue with priorities. We have already seen the formulation of the MG1 queue where the customers arrive based on a Poisson stochastic process, whereas the service times are generally distributed with a single server. We derived the PK or the Polczak-Khinchine formula for the waiting time, average waiting time in an MG1 queue. We will extend this formulation, but the new feature that we'll add is what happens if we have different kinds of customers demanding different kinds of services and different kinds of treatment. So in a queuing system, you may have heterogeneous customers in the sense that different customers would be demanding different kinds of services. For example, in a case of a bank, when customers come, some of them may come to just deposit some money, some of them may come to open an account or withdraw some money or for some other service and so on. So based on the nature of the service they want, the time taken to serve them would be different. So we can in general categorize the customers into, let us say, K different kinds. So K types of customers are there. The ith customer would require a kind of service which can be modeled as the time taken to serve the ith type of customer would be random but generally distributed with general probability distribution, and we only expect, as in the case of MG1 queue, the first moment and the second moment of the service time to be known. That is the expectation of the service time and the second moment of the service time of each type of the customer has to be known. For example, there are K types of customers. The ith customers characterization that we want is the rate at which services can be carried out by the server. We will call it as mu I, which means that on the average it will take 1 over mu I time to serve the ith type of customers. We can also indicate the time taken to serve the ith customer as xi. I here denotes the type. So there can be different realization of xi, and the average of it is expectation of xi, which is of course equal to 1 over mu I, and the square of that second moment, that is expectation of xi squared, is also something that we would like to know in order to characterize this kind of queues with heterogeneous customers. One more thing is that it is not just the customers are heterogeneous demanding different types of services. They might also would want different kinds of treatment or different quality of services, in the sense that they may demand different priority with which they have to be handled. So there may be certain customers who have high priority customers who have to be treated or served immediately, and low priority customers to be treated differently. Well, it is not just because high priority customers bring in more revenue for certain commercial establishment. Even in the case of engineering systems, where customers may translate to jobs, there may be some high priority jobs. For example, if there is an alarm that is an event that is triggered in a process control systems, you have to handle that events with high priority as compared to an event where you simply log details about the different parameters of the system and so on. So even in engineering customers, you can categorize different jobs or events with different priorities and handle them with priorities. So invariably, in any heterogeneous customer based systems, priority is also invariably comes into the picture. So we will call these as multi-class customers. So we have to assign priorities. Let us say we have k classes of customers. Without loss of generality, we say that the type 1 customer has the highest priority. Type 2 will have priority next to type 1. Type 3 will have priority next to 1 and 2 and so on. And type K customer has the least priority. How this priority can be implemented is, as the customers come, they have been allowed to wait or made to wait in separate queues, one per priority level. So priority level customers are made to wait in one particular queue as the type 1 queue. Priority 2 customers are made to wait in another queue, separate queue called as the type 2 queue and so on. So there are say k separate queues being maintained. Of course, we should also talk about the arrival process governing the customers. Because now there is an heterogeneous nature of customers, it is not enough if you tell the overall arrival rate of the customers to the system. The individual arrival rate will matter, because that will in turn dictate how long that type of customer has to wait to get the service, and it may also affect other types because priority is given. So we will assume that lambda I is the Poisson arrival rate of the ith type of customers. As in the previous cases, we assume the population size of the customer base is large and each customer takes a decision independent of other customers, and therefore the Poisson modeling is good enough, and therefore we assume that the arrival processes are all Poisson in nature, independent of each other, and lambda 1 is the arrival rate, Poisson arrival rate for the first type of customer, lambda 2, lambda 3 to lambda k. And the service rates are service time on the average to satisfy each class of customers are 1 over mu1, 1 over mu2 and so on. So this figure illustrates customers of heterogeneous nature. Now if we add priority to it, what we mean by that is that we should handle high priority customers immediately. So what the server, the way it is commonly modeled is that what the server will do is, whenever the server becomes free, let's say after handling a particular customer, it first looks into the priority level queue, and if there is at least one customer waiting in the level 1, then that customer is handled. So the server, whenever becomes free, it only looks for the queue number 1 with the highest priority and tries to handle customers in that queue. Only if Q1 is empty, it will then look at the Q2 and look at the customers in the priority level Q2 and try to handle customers from that. Again, within a particular priority level, customers are handled in a first come first served manner. That is, in let us say, when the server becomes free, and if it finds Q1 to be empty, then it goes to Q2. And if there are certain number of customers waiting in Q2, then the customer who has been waiting for a long time or is being handled, which means that the first come first serve service discipline is followed within a particular priority level. So Q3 priority level Q3 will be handled only when Q1 and Q2 are both empty, or in general the server will start when the server becomes free, it will handle the head of the line customer in Qi only if Q1 to Qi minus 1 are all empty. So this is how the customers are handled and priorities established. With regard to the arrival, we can also view it in a different manner. If lambda be the overall arrival rate to the system, and we find that with probability P1, a customer demands type 1 service and therefore they are routed to Q1, and therefore the arrival rate to the Q1, which we will call it as lambda 1, is P1 lambda, to Q2 is P2 lambda, and so on. So this is as if the customers are split based on the nature of the service they want. So as we mentioned, type 1 customer has the highest priority with the service rate mu1, type 2 as service rate mu2, and so on. Lambda I is the arrival rate x, and for the kth one, lambda k, xk bar, which is equal to 1 over mu k, and xk squared bar. These are the quantities that we need for any given customers of a particular type. There is one more important thing that we have to get clarified before we start dealing with the customers. What happens to a customer who arrives at an arbitrary time having a particular kind priority? At the time a customer arrives, there may be a customer who is undergoing service. Again, that customer may belong to any given priority level which is not known ahead. What do you do with that customer? Will you allow the customer to complete the service, or you forcefully take the customer out of the server because an higher priority customer has arrived? In other words, suppose priority level 3 customer is undergoing service, and at that time priority level 2 customer has arrived. Naturally priority level 2 customer has higher priority, but priority level 3 customer is undergoing service. It's not just waiting. So what do you do with that customer? Would you let that customer to complete the service because after all he has started the service, or preempt the customer in the sense that you forcefully remove the customer from the server and immediately start the service of a higher priority customer? So these are two ways in which you can handle it. In the case of the non-preemptive queuing system, any service that is ongoing is allowed to get completed and you don't stop the ongoing service. So any customer, even if of a higher priority that arrives when a lower priority customer is undergoing service, that particular service is allowed to be completed, and the higher priority customer has to wait for that service to get over before the priority kicks in. So this is what we call as the non-preemptive service discipline. In the case of the preemptive service discipline, what we will do is we can let the customer who is currently undergoing service to be forcefully removed or preempted from the server and immediately start handling an higher priority customer. So eventually what will happen is this higher priority customer would be handled, and in between if there is some other high priority customers come, they will all be handled till you come back to the original customer who have been preempted. Now we have to again serve that customer who have been preempted previously. How do we do that service? You may either resume from where you have left, or you can repeat the whole service. So resume the service means the server has to keep track of where the service is left over and start from that point onwards. The service should be of such a nature where if half of the service is completed, only the remaining half is required. Then this kind of discipline, service discipline, is possible. That is called as preemptive priority with resume. If the service has to be repeated again, because even though half of the service is completed, you cannot redo the remaining part, you have to start all the way from the beginning, then that kind of service is called as the preemptive service priority with repeat. So now we will first look at the earlier case, that is non-preemptive priority queuing system. So here we have k type of customers, lambda I are the arrival rate of the ith customer type customer, xk bar and xk squared, xi bar and xi squared bar are the first and second moment of the ith customer, and so on. We are interested in deriving the following quantity for each type of customer. Well, now if you use a new notation and indicate a type k customer, where k varying from 1 to n. So there are totally n types of customers, and we are looking at the kth type, a slight change in the notation. So the quantity we would be interested is for the type k customer are the following usual things. NQK is the average number of customers waiting in the queue for the priority k. WK is the average time a customer waits in the queue of priority k. And rho k is the server utilization factor or the system utilization factor for priority k, which is nothing but lambda k by mu k. And with that you can also look at the response time for the type k customer, which is the waiting time in the queue plus the service time. That will be, we will call it as T. Then the total number of customers of type k in the system will be the average number of customers waiting in the queue plus the expected number of customer with the server if there is any. So these are the quantities we are interested in. Then as before, we will encounter a quantity called as the mean residual service time. That is, when an arbitrary customer joins the queuing system, some other customer would be undergoing service and the arrived customer has to wait for that service to get over. Then only the system will renews itself. Then we can talk about the average time it would take for this customer to enter the service. So at this point, because of this general nature of the service times, so we have to find the mean time it takes before the next renewal point, and that is what we call as the mean residual time. Then regarding the system stability, that is whether the queue will be bounded or unbounded, if you want to look at that one. Well, we saw that in the case of MM1 queue, the service utilization factor rho has to be less than 1. That is, lambda by mu has to be less than 1. The arrival rate has to be less than the service rate. Now there are heterogeneous customer. How do we quantify the queue stability? So here we have to look at the quantity. The lambda 1 has to be arrival rate, and the corresponding service rate are the one which will decide the queue stability. So we expect not just rho, which is, you cannot use the overall arrival rate because different types of customer have got different service times on the average. So if rho 1, rho 2, rho n are the server utilization factor of type 1, 2, 3 customers, the sum of the server utilization factor or the system utilization factor, which is sigma rho I varying from 1 to n, that is rho 1 plus rho 2 to rho n, has to be less than 1. If that being the case, then the system is stable. Otherwise, the system will be unstable in the sense that some of the queues may become unbounded. That is, let us assume a case when rho 1 plus rho 2 to rho n is greater than 1. Then we can always find a particular value I such that it is the greatest integer such that sigma rho k up to I is less than 1 and sigma rho I up to k plus 1 is greater than 1. So let us identify an I such that rho 1 to rho I, if you sum it, it will be less than 1. If you sum from rho 1 to rho I plus 1, it becomes greater than 1. So the crossover of that 1 in summing the row takes place between I and I plus 1. Obviously, we can see that the systems, the queues up to I priority levels will be bounded, and above that, from I plus 1 all the way to n will be unbounded. So this is how we can characterize the stability of a priority queue. Now we will look at the high priority customer, that is the customer with the priority level 1, which is rather easy to analyze. Let W1 be the waiting time of the high priority customer. Note that the high priority customer have to, while handling the high priority customer, low priority customers will have no role, because until all customers in the Q1 is being emptied out, the server will not even look into other kind of customers. But one thing that matters is the residual time faced by a customer, the priority level 1 customer on arrival, or. So the customer on arrival, priority level 1 on arrival, has to wait for the residual waiting time. After that, the person has to wait for all customers ahead of that customer in level 1 to get complete, to finish their service. On the average, there will be NQ1 customers of that type, each one taking x1 bar or 1 over mu1 time to get served. So 1 by mu1 into NQ1, it will be the time it takes. So it is basically a random sum of random variable. Again, later we will use the Wahl's inequality, and we can show that we can write it as average number of the average service time of each customer into the average of the number of customers who has to be served. That is NQ1 times 1 over mu1. We also know from the Little's formula that NQ1 is equal to lambda 1 into W1. So plugging in, we get W1 is equal to R plus 1 over mu1 W1 lambda 1 W1. Lambda 1 by mu1 is nothing but rho 1. So with this equality, if you take rho 1 W1 to the left hand side and take W1 common, W1 into 1 minus rho is equal to R, and W1 is equal to R divided by 1 minus rho. So this is what we are going to get. Now let us look at the customer belonging to the second priority class. That waiting time we will call it as W2. Okay, so when a customer belonging to second priority level comes, that customer has to first wait for the residual waiting time, call it as R. We will later show that it is the same R, whether it is the priority level 1 or priority level 2 and so on. Because when a customer arrives at an arbitrary time, the queue can be in any given state. That is, some of the queues may be empty, some of them will be non-empty, or in other way. So the state of the queue that is being viewed by an arbitrary customer, whether the customer belongs to priority level 1 or 2, would be the same, and therefore the residual time will also be the same for all customers of all priority level. So that is why we use the same R. Then the customer in the priority level 2 has to wait for the customers who are already waiting in Q1 to be served. NQ1 number of customers would be there, each one demanding 1 over mu1 as the service time. So this much time the customer in second priority who have arrived in the second queue has to wait for the first queue to get emptied. Then customers in the second queue might be served, and there are NQ2 customers in that second queue ahead of the new customer who have arrived. Each one has to be served because it is a first come first served discipline. and each one of them would require 1 over mu2 time to get served. So 1 by mu2 into nq2 is the time a customer has to wait for all customers ahead of that customer in second level priority to complete. So this is another time we have to wait. But note, while the customer is waiting for this much amount of time, there can be new arrivals to Q1, Q2, Q3 and anyway. Customers arriving in 3, 4 and all will not have any role, because they have to wait until this second new arrival in the priority 2 gets served. So they will not play any role. Customer who arrive behind this customer, tagged customer in Q2, will also be standing behind this customer and therefore will not add to the waiting time of this customer. But those customers who arrive in the priority level 1 will have a higher priority and they have to be served. So all customers who arrive in Q1 during the service time of a customer in level 2 have to be served. How many would arrive? That depends upon the waiting time of this tagged customer, which we call it as W2. In a duration of W2, lambda 1 W2 customers of priority level 1 would have arrived, because this is the time duration, W2 is the time duration, lambda 1 is the arrival rate. So lambda 1 W2 customers would have arrived to priority level 1, each one demanding 1 over mu1 time. So this time has to be added. You would see that W2 is in turn dependent upon W2. So now we know that by Little's formula, nq1 is equal to lambda 1 W1, nq2 is equal to lambda 2 W2. So if you plug in those things, so we have W2 is equal to R plus rho 1 W1 plus rho 2 W2 plus rho 1 W2. Okay, if you include this one. So taking everything belonging to W2 on the left hand side and then dividing the right hand side by that quantity, we get W2 is equal to R plus rho 1 W1 divided by 1 minus rho 1 minus rho 2. Because if we take these two quantities here, we will have W2 into 1 minus rho 1 minus rho 2, and that we are dividing it here. So this would be the waiting time of customer in priority level 2. Whereas here W1 is there, which we know from the previous discussion as this, so we can plug in there R divided by 1 minus rho 1. So if you include that R divided by 1 minus rho 1 here, R divided by 1 minus rho 1, so you will have R plus rho 1 by into R divided by 1 minus rho 1. So R into 1 minus rho 1 plus rho 1 R divided by 1 minus rho 1. So what we will have is only R on the numerator. On the denominator, this 1 minus rho 1 will come. So we will have an expression of this form. R divided by 1 minus rho 1 into 1 minus rho 1 minus rho 2. This would be the waiting time for priority level 2. Now we know how to generalize. For a priority customer belonging to priority level K, the formula would be of the form, which can also be verified to be R divided by 1 minus rho 1 to rho K minus 1 into 1 minus rho 1 all the way to minus rho K. So we have obtained the waiting time for priority level K in a case of the non-preemptive queuing discipline, priority queuing discipline. Now let us quickly recall how this residual time R is being calculated in the case of MG1 queue with vacation. See, we used this kind of an diagram where we plot the residual time R of t against t. At the time a customer arrives, okay, this is with no priority but with vacation. At a time the first customer arrives whose service time, if it is x1, immediately the residual time will be x1. Little later it will be x1 minus t, so it will be linearly decreasing. By the time the customer leaves, it becomes 0, and immediately it will become x2, and it will go like this one. When the queue becomes empty, the server goes on vacation, and it will be v1, v2. So you will have a sequence of right angle triangles of height equal to the width equal to x1, x2, x3, or v1, v2, v3, and so on. And therefore we used that each triangle will have the area of x1 squared by 2, and you have to sum it over all such squares or multiply this by rate at which these customers arrive, and so on. So here we will see that if you look at the Q1, when the Q1 becomes empty, in this case the server goes on a vacation, but by vacation we mean the server starts attending customers in Q2. That is what we mean by a vacation for Q1. And when both Q1 and Q2 are empty, we will have a new kind of vacation where the server starts attending customers belonging to Q3, and so on. So again, it is very similar to MG1 queue with vacation, but instead of vacation V1, V2, we will have the service time of the type 2 customers coming. Again, within the when that queue becomes empty, the service time of Q3 will come, and so on. So here there will be a sequence of triangles. Again, if all queues are empty, the server will be idling, of course, or it may go on vacation. Right now we will not talk about vacation. It has only priority queues. So there will be a sequence of these kind of triangles. How many such triangles will be there, and all these things are what we have to look into to get the residual time. So we basically are interested in finding the average residual time R, which is the average of this curve which is being plotted. That is 1 over t 0 to t r of tau d tau, by taking t to be very large in the limit t tends to infinity. So in the case of the residual MG1 queue, we saw that it is 1 by t. This area is nothing but the sum of the areas of the triangle. So in a time up to t 0 to t, n of t customers have arrived. For each one of them it will be xi squared by 2. So sigma I 1 to n of t xi squared by 2 is equal to this integral. So this is the residual time. Multiplying and dividing by n of t, we get this. We know n of t by 2 is the rate at which customers arrive, which is equal to lambda, and the remaining this quantity is the second moment, because this is how the second moment is computed. X squared is the square of the realization of the x random variable, that is x squared bar. So we get lambda into x squared by r, and this r on plugging into w, we get 1 over 2 lambda x squared bar by 1 minus rho. With this pk formula in our mind, now we will look at the priority queuing system. So over an interval 0 to t, priority level 1 customers arrive at the rate of lambda 1, 2 at the rate of lambda 2, and so on. So lambda 1 into t number of customers would have arrived in that duration. We will call it as n1 of t. Lambda 2 t customers, which is equal to n2 of t, would have arrived, and lambda k t equal to lambda k of t, number of k type customers would have arrived. Each one will contribute to a triangle, and their areas have to be added. So r is 1 by t, sigma 1 to n1 of t x1 squared by 2 by 2, and similarly other things. Again multiplying by these quantities, n1 of t multiplying and dividing for with each of this one, we can identify n1 of t. See, n1 of t by t into 1 over n1, this sigma. Similarly n2 by 2 of t by t into 1 over n2. Similarly nk of t by t into 1 over nk of t, and so on. We can identify n1 of t by t is equal to lambda 1, n2 of t by t is equal to lambda t, and nk of t by t is equal to lambda k. And this quantity is nothing but the second moment of the random variable x1. Okay, so sigma I varying from 1 to n1 of t x1 squared t, and so on. It will be like that. So r is given by lambda 1 into x1 squared bar by 2 and so on. Again, so again we can write it as 1 by 2 sigma I varying from 1 to k lambda k xk squared. So therefore the waiting time wk is given by this residual time, which is sigma I varying from 1 to k lambda k xk squared bar divided by 2. This 2 will also come, and as we have seen, we have one factor all the way up to k minus 1 and another factor all the way up to k, that is 1 minus rho 1 rho 2 and so on, like that. So that is wk. This is the average time customer belonging to the priority level queue has to wait in the queue before starting the service. The total time the customer spends in the queue, tk, is wk plus 1 over mu k, which is the average time the customer spends with the server. So it is 1 over mu k times wk, which is given by this formula. Now if you want the total number of customers in the queuing system, is that if you multiply this by lambda k, that will give you the nk, the total number of customers in the queuing system. Similarly, if you multiply lambda k with wk, that will give you the total number of customers waiting in the queue belonging to the type k type of customers. All four quantities can be derived. So this is how the preemptive, non-preemptive queuing discipline based priority queuing system can be analyzed. In a similar manner, we can go about and discuss preemptive resume priority or preemptive repeat priority, which we will see it in a different lecture. Thank you.